Ah, that's too long. That looks a bit better to me. Let's turn off the onion skin. Now I've got that, I was going to remove that, one of these keyframes, and just I could have a look at that and see if that looks better. Or we could maybe have, I can have it so that it jumps up. Let's insert another, just a frame here. And insert another frame in this one. And in this one I just drew, in this keyframe where I just changed the arm position, I might just select the whole thing and move it up even higher so that arm swing gives it a little bit more height. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so the other thing you can do, again, you could draw it if you wanted to, or you can take advantage of the tools or cheat, whichever way you like to think of it, where we can add a bit of squash in that position where it goes right down. And you could add it maybe to the 2 frames or the 1 frame, but let's just start with that first position. So what I'm going to do is, now, like I said, you could redraw it if you wanted to, or you can take advantage of some of the tools, and I'm going to use the free transform tool. So I select my character. I'm going to move, that's the anchor point of the free transform tool. I'm going to move that down to the bottom, so it's moving, it's scaling things from that position. And I'm going to squash it down a little bit. And so remembering that, the volume of an object has to stay the same, I'm going to squash it and I'm going to give it a bit more width as well at the same time. So if you bring it down, you've got to compensate by making it a little bit wider. So let's turn that off and see. Deselect that and then just scroll through. So just gives it a little bit more character. And then once we've got the squash happening, let's see how far we can push that squash. It just gives a little bit more, makes the character more appealing, I think. It makes it look a little bit like it's a bit rubbery in a good way. Let's see how far we can push that. It doesn't look strange to me. It looks okay. So what you can also do too, you have this squash, and now we're going to do the stretch. So when we get to that position, the first jump position, we can select that, and this time we're going to stretch it a little bit. So we're going to make it longer, but we have to make it thinner. Actually, before I'll just undo that. Remember to move your anchor point down to the feet area. So we stretch it out and bring it in. Again, you sort of see how much you can get away with. Let's scroll through and see with it. Let's make it a little bit smaller, might help to see a bit more. Right, we're right on the edge of the stage, that's all right. Now, do I need to do some stretch to this other position? So let's have a look. Or is it going to kind of look like it's losing size. Oops, I forgot to move the anchor point again. So just undo and reposition it, and let's try stretching it out, making it thinner. So I could also, so that's okay. I could also perhaps, if I wanted to, I could put in, depending on the house, if you want it to really bounce up, you could put some more in-betweens of that position of the going up of the jump, and maybe have some in-betweens of the arms between the arms bent at the side to that right at the top if you wanted to. Just add in, to do that, all I would do is say go to this one, the first jump. I could just add in, just insert 2 more frames, and then add a keyframe, and then I could modify that position. What I could do is, let's say, turn on the onion skin. I can see how I can set my onion skin in the front. So all the frames in front of that frame that I'm working in, or the ones behind. So what I could do is maybe I would probably change the position a bit, bring it up a bit, the whole thing. So it's sort of in between those 2 jump positions. And let's get in a bit bigger. And maybe have the arms kind of coming up towards that position. I should have figured out where the arm was. Okay, that's where the arm's position is. So let's just have it. I think it needs to be a little bit higher than that. So that's the arm position on that side. Maybe even higher. Maybe make that a little bit higher. Going to reproduce that one. It's not a great arm, but just to show you. Flip horizontal. Just going to put that in that position. Let's get rid of that bit of arm and just get rid of those little bits inside. The little pointy bits. So that's just a way of, slowing down the action a little bit more. And what I can do is, if you want to bring it back down again, I could, again, cheating or taking advantage of the tools, whatever you want to call it, what I could do is find that position where he's just standing with his arm down. I'm just going to select that frame, and which one is the one where he's just, so it's frame 59, you can see the frame number down there. to frame 66. So let's select 59. Hold down my shift and 66. And I'm going to copy those frames. And then in the next empty frame, I'm going to paste them. And I am going to then reverse them by selecting them. And then you can use your right mouse button, and there's an option to reverse the frames. Let's have a look. And I need to probably get rid of the anticipation position. I just put in another key, just another regular frame there, because it was just a one frame. Let's have a look. It might be, let's just play it back for a second. Maybe that's okay. But you know, it's just playing around, trying things, seeing if they work okay. Maybe I don't need to have it go right down into that really low anticipation move. Maybe I can, let's try it without just removing those frames there. So I'm just selecting that very deep position. Let's remove frames and try again. Yeah, I think that's probably better.